we want to look at the quietly command in Stata. Now, the idea behind the quietly command in Stata is that if you use quietly before a command, Stata will run the command without displaying output in the results window. So the command will still run, but you won't see any output in the results window here. Now, this is useful when you only care about stored results and you don't want printed tables, right? You don't care about Stata displaying the results, you only want to use the stored results. Let's look at a couple of examples. So example one is that you want to quietly summarize. Now say, let's make use of the auto data set in Stata. Oh, sorry. Now, if I do quietly summarize price, now the general command we use is summarize price, but what if I want to quietly summarize it? Now, the idea behind putting quietly before this command is that I don't want Stata to display the summary table. I want Stata to run the command and not display anything because I later want to use the stored results. I'm only interested in the stored results. Now it means that nothing has happened over here because we don't see a summary table or anything. But Stata has in fact run the summarize command. It's just not showing us the results in the result window. It's not just showing us the summary table, but Stata has run the command, it has stored the results. So if we just wanted to access the results from the summarize command and we were not interested in seeing the entire summary table, so we could have put quietly before the summarize price like we just did here. So like we said, Stata has run the command. It's just not displaying the results. If we wanted to access the results from the summarize command, then we use our class for this. More on this later. This is just to illustrate that Stata has actually stored them. We'll look in more detail, but our class is later. So if I do display R mean, so notice that Stata is displaying me the mean of price. If I do display RST, Stata is displaying the standard deviation of price. That is because even though we don't see any summary table, but Stata has still run the command. So Stata, it still did summarize price, it just did it quietly. It's not showing us the summary table, but later if you use our classes to refer to the results stored in summarize, Stata will display them for price because the command has been run. It's just that it's not showing the summary table. We might also want to quietly regress. For example, I want to regress price on MPG and weight, and I don't want to see the regression table, but I do want Stata to store the results because I want to call the coefficients of MPG and weight. So again, if I do quietly regress, no regression table appears here, right? But Stata has run the command. It's just not displaying the results, but we can access those results. We already looked at that when we want to call the coefficient of one of our independent variables, we use underscore b, and in the brackets, we put the name of that variable. Say I wanted to display the coefficient of MPG. So we'll do display underscore b, and in brackets, we put MPG. So see, even though I don't see any regression table, but Stata did run the command, it just didn't display the results because we could quietly before the regress command. But when we do display underscore BMG, because Stata had run the command, it had those results, it will show me the slope coefficient of MPG is minus 49.5 into. Similarly, I could display the slope coefficient of weight. It would be 1.74, right? So we could also use quietly inside a loop. Say I wanted to run this loop where I wanted to regress price one by one on MPG weight and length. So I wanted to run a simple linear regression. I wanted to regress price first on MPG, then I wanted to regress price on weight, then I wanted to regress price on length. And you wanted to display the coefficient on each of these variables. So again, you could use quietly before this if you wanted to regress this without, you were only interested in the coefficient and you were not interested in the full regression output in each case. So over here, notice that Stata, it did run this regression, but because it did quietly, it did not display the regression result 3 times every time it regressed price on each one of those independent variables. It only displayed what I wanted to see. So the whole idea here is that when you only interested in stored results, like with summarize, with regression, so in that case, you can use quietly before the command. In that case, Stata will run the command. It just won't display the results in the result window. But if you want to access those stored results, you can do that. In the case of summarize, we can use our class. And in the case of regress, we can call slope coefficients like this using underscore p. So quietly allows you to use stored results without displaying the results in the results window.